Firstly, about wheelchair spaces on buses, a lot of the problem would go away if we legislated that mothers had to carry their babies in buggies and not small tanks. But so my main point is just, it's all very well go to meetings with TfL, they're on about how all their buses are accessible, bus stops are accessible, they made more stations accessible. Trouble is, once you get off the bus and go down the street, which is in control of the local authority, you can't get to your destination. It's all very well having accessible buses if you can't have access to the bus stop. So Robert's, my question would be, how can we join that up between my front door and the bus stop?
Yeah.
How can we make local authorities?
Are you talking about street furniture, or are you talking about
I'm
the
talking about
maintenance of the streets themselves?
Maintenance
Okay.
and street furniture.
Okay, so street furniture, for people who don't understand, are things like the A-frame boards that shops put out, and the bins and things like that are generally there that you have to weave around. And the second point is the maintenance of the pavements, so broken paving slabs. The fact that, say, BT come out and rip up the pavement one day to do some work, then it gets filled in, and a couple of days later Thames water around it, etc. So,
Completely. I mean, a lot of the stuff, like Steve and I've also been, I was a councillor, he was legal council, so quite a lot of the stuff in terms of, local issues, pavements, etc., will be down to local. But definitely, I think a lot more needs. I certainly will be going back to more senior people in my party to talk about things that I've learned from today, and especially after I could come out with you guys. Because again, I don't think any party here, tries to legislate against or not in the favour of. I think it's the issue is awareness and understanding. But listening to some of the stories, you're absolutely right. What's the point of spending the money on the buses if you can't get to the bus stop? So it's I take that point away completely, and I'll definitely look into that and get you something back in writing. But it's been a great eye opener for me because
contrary to popular perception, British local government and delegated authorities are riddled with conflicts of interest and corruption in my personal experience. And conflicts of interest in particular, and a lot of contracts which are let for things like small repairs and road repairs and this sort of thing. Quite often, there's extraordinary secrecy in the United Kingdom against these contracts, and wildly irresponsible overuse of the concept of commercial confidentiality, which is our policy to get a big, sharp knife and cut through this commercial nonsense. Quite often, if the general public were able to see the particular contract which had been let to undertake a particular repair, which they can't at the moment because of these ludicrous secrecy rules, then it would go to great lengths to solve the problem. Because if you've got some roadworks going on outside you, or some pavement repair which has been requested and paid for under budget, and then you see that the contract was to start something and finish something, and you know how much the contract is worth, then the local population, as they do, for example, in Switzerland, Japan, Singapore, other places, where you can find out what the contracts cost, public pressure is often enough to get the problem sorted out. Otherwise, in order to solve the problem, you're talking of, have sweeping generalities that never come to anything. But the public pressure is the way to deal with the problem.
thank you very much.
So thanks for your question. I think it's well put and nicely humorous. It's difficult if you're in a wheelchair to get around on the streets, and it's especially difficult when people decide to park on the pavement. And the Green Party is committed to ending pavement parking and situations where we have ultimate priority of cars over mobility for people with access requirements and people who are just trying to walk. So we have a transport priority, and we put walking and mobility devices for disabled people right at the top of that. And then second comes cycling, and after that we have public transport like buses and trains. So we would ensure that local authorities are funded properly to make sure that their streets are properly maintained. And we've got a situation here where local authorities are so poorly funded that they are having to make really dreadful decisions, like whether to...
It's not a funding problem.
It is a funding problem.
So, and we would also, like the Lib Dems, end commercial confidentiality for government contracts. That's a manifesto pledge. So we want to end the tyranny of cars and give equal access, put people in wheelchairs and with other mobility aids on equal footing to drivers. And we would also bring in a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in urban areas, which in Brighton has saved 200 lives.
I think it is a funding problem. I think there is, at the moment, there isn't.
But if you're Labour, everything's always a funding problem.
Certainly in this area, undoubtedly there is. That we, because what's happened is that the cuts in capital investment that's been made has hit road repairs, pavement repairs, and the kind of things that make it difficult to get around. There's lots of potholes in the roads, and the resources for repairing them properly aren't in place. So I think we do need to recognise the importance of investing in the fabric of pavements and streets as part of a programme to maintain and develop the infrastructure in the country. And it's not sufficiently important at the moment. I'm glad that thanks to Labour pressure, the government has agreed to establish a strategy for cycling and walking as part of its infrastructure investment, and I would hope that will give the opportunity to raise and highlight the importance of these issues in